everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Crowning Connections. Today, we have a very special guest with us, and you're going to want to listen in for all the amazing things that she has accomplished and she has done.
Welcome back to Crowning Connections, like Lindy said, and we are joined today by a beautiful queen, a very special lady who is determined to make a difference in and outside of her community. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over. And Barbara, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to everyone. Tell them a little bit about your title that you just crowned your successor and about you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Barbara Komondor, and I am the Forever Queen now, Prestige All-Star United States 2025. I just crowned a new Prestige in Nashville, Tennessee, the last Saturday of July. So she's been doing it for a couple weeks now. So they're all being busy. All our our misses, our preteen, and our little team. They've been out there already doing a lot of stuff. As I briefly mentioned to you before, I got into a pageant because I cracked a joke, and my daughter was chosen to compete in the All-Star United States pageant. And in turn, I went to call to question something for her because she was busy. And Tammy Johns, who's the director and the owner, said, "Hey, by the way, we have a Mrs. category." I went, "Oh, yeah. Okay, great." I'm the behind the scenes person. I fix the dresses. I run around and do all that stuff. Well, I mentioned it to my daughter, and she goes, "Oh, this will be great. We can do it together." And then she left me high and dry the week of the pageant. She was busy off doing her thing for what she needed to do. But when I got crowned in Charleston, West Virginia, for my title at that time was Mrs. Mid-Atlantic All-Star United States, I actually called myself Gracie Lou Freebush, and Tammy just busted out laughing on stage because I was Gracie Lou Freebush. So that's kind of how I got into it and was involved with them since then. So
That is awesome, and congratulations. And I mean, especially just to pop and do it up out of nowhere. So that's awesome.
yeah,
That
it
takes
was.
some guts to be able to do that, to go in and be like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do this.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when we were getting ready to leave, because we were going to go down to Savannah, Georgia, where the pageant was at the time, my husband got sick and landed in the hospital. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it. And Tammy was very, very kind and constantly would be like, "Just let me know what you're doing. Just let me know what's going on, how he's doing." And it ended up the doctor's like, "Oh, he's fine. Go ahead and go. Go have fun." So it ended up my daughter, my mom, who was 87 at the time, and myself loaded up a rented Suburban, and away we went at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday and pulled into Savannah at 9 a.m. the next morning, unloaded, and was dressed and showered, makeup, and was at orientation by 11 o'clock. And I was a half hour early before I was supposed to be there. But it was an eventful week. It really changed a lot of stuff and gave me a lot of perspective on different things and people. Going on stage in a swimsuit and heels was the big challenge for me because I was probably about 35 pounds heavier prior to me finding out I was a type 2 diabetic. I came off stage. I went behind literally a rocket scientist, a NASA rocket scientist. Janie, she's a sweetheart from Colorado, and six-pack abs. I mean, gorgeous, wonderful person. And I went, "Oh, this is great. Six-pack abs, two fun tattoo coming on stage." But then when I came off stage, I was like, "That was awesome." And I started high-fiving everybody, getting weird looks. But it was great. I just wanted to do it again. And it was fun. Definitely overcame it. So, and found out a couple other people wanted to do stuff because they saw me doing that. It was fun.
And isn't that what it's all about? Just inspiring and being able to help someone else, understand that they can achieve those same goals and those same dreams that you did.
It also sounded like you definitely got bit by the pageant bug there when you came off and you were high-fiving everyone and, you just wanted to do it again. That's great.
I ended up coming back the next year and I was fourth runner-up. I was astonished on that because there were some really, really incredible women. And surprisingly, just being the fourth runner-up, and I got some other awards for my community service, my media reaction of sharing the information about the pageant. I won several awards. And when I won the fourth runner-up, I actually felt like I won because it was kind of like it was an all new experience. And I did what I needed to do for me. And it was constantly. And even the first year when I did it, and I reminded Tammy that first year when I came off stage in my evening gown, she came up and whispered in my ear, and she's like, "I'm so proud of you." And I don't know why, but she's just like, it that was kind of good because Tammy gets into her production mode and she doesn't usually talk to people. So that was like, okay, that was very nice to me because it was kind of tricky with not having my husband there. And then he got discharged 2 days early and I'm going, I'm 13 hours away and he's in outside Pittsburgh. And I'm going, I don't have no way to get him home. So luckily his sister and brother-in-law picked him up. So he got home 2 days early before I did. And then they surprised me and my daughter and my mom when we got home that Sunday. My brother-in-law, Chris, and his wife, which is my husband's baby sister, Beth, had a whole arrangement dinner, like food and everything. And they had cut our grass because he wasn't able to. So it was really nice to come home and remember that they were there for us when we needed them. So
That's what it's all about. It is. And then you had mentioned your community service awards. You are involved with so many different charities, Wreaths Across America, which I know you just had an event today, and then you've got Tom's Turkeys. Look at this. So do you have a special story about any particular one of those that is really near and dear to your heart?
Wreaths Across America, I got started with them through the pageants. Amanda Fleaver, who's the one who kind of got us all involved with pageants. She's the one who got my daughter Claudia started as a young teen, and which benefited her down the road. And she's done very well in her life because of it. Um, she's like, "Hey, did you ever hear about this?" And I was like, "No." And then I got involved, and it was right here in our town. And they do it at the cemetery where my dad was laid, and my dad was in the army during the Korean. So we came down and and I ended up getting involved with them after that because I found out that his coordinator, Wendy, and I graduated high school together. So I started coming to the meetings and got involved with them. And then last year I was asked if I would take it over as a coordinator, and then Joyce is my co-coordinator. So it's nice. She's retired. She can do the running during the day and I do the computer stuff. But with that, I would have to say probably me falling in the snow every year. It's usually with our organization, it's either raining, snowing, very windy and cold, or all of the above. Where I see all the other people doing Wreath Across America on that day, Saturday in December, and they got their hair all nice, all dressed up, and here I am in mud. And I usually fall down the hill. And I don't know if in some of the pictures I saw you, that's me laying flat on the ground in the snow and everything. But everybody pitches in, and we have about 3,000 graves that we have to cover every year between 3 different cemeteries. So, which is about a $52,000 budget every year that we have to try and raise money for, because it's all purchased for the veterans. So it's not. So we're always in that effort, and that's what we're doing right now. On behind me at the Irwin Business Professionals Association, they're having their nighttime vendor show. So we're down there with the booth with our auction baskets and items that we have down there to sell. And then Beverly's birthdays is kind of the one that got most attention whenever I started pageants. If you look at my backdrop on my Facebook page for my title, you see my daughter and I going like this in front of a TV screen. Well, that was Beverly's birthdays, which is now Beverly's PGH. She has grown over the 10 years from just supplying parties for underprivileged children that never get to have a birthday party or get a birthday gift. That's how she started. Now they got 6 programs, I believe, and they are actually the first official baby formula center in Pittsburgh. So if somebody needs baby formula, they can actually come and pick it up and do that. Her organization has just like grown. And my husband and I are actually monthly sponsors that we donate to them. And every time they have an organization, we go to that. But on that day, which was our first time in Savannah competing, Good Morning America was providing Meg Spoon, who's the person who created Beverly's birthday, was receiving a $10,000 money donation from Good Morning America. It's down at the fountain down in Pittsburgh. And it just happened to be right before we were getting ready to do our scavenger hunts, Savannah. So I'm like going, Claudia, look, and that's why we're standing in front of the TV screen because we had our Beverly's birthday T-shirts on to do the scavenger hunt down there. So that they're very near and dear. And I actually have a project that once things calm down with me personally, issues that we have going on with things, but since my mom's passing, I look into doing my project of the quillas to donate to them. I just have to get the sewing situated. Tom's turkeys, actually, they were my neighbors. Linda was my next door neighbor behind me, and she married her high school sweetheart, who was his aunt, lived next door to Linda. So I got to know him from young, and he started Tom's Turkey by trying to get turkeys for people at Thanksgiving. And it happened to be a time where there was a shortage of turkeys. So now he has changed it, and I've become a board member with him over the last several years where we have a golf outing and we have a big gala in November that we raise money and we actually give gift certificates to like Aldi's, which is a store around us. We don't do any gift certificates that involve any type of alcohol, but it's so people can actually go in and buy, and then we have it set up through the Norwin School District where they will donate. They work it with the principals of each school that they will give the gift cards to the children who unfortunately at times go home and don't have food at home. So they can go out and get stuff and they can buy it, or their family can go out and buy it for them that way. And Tom has a big house. He's a retired police officer. So yeah, sometimes there's other ones too. There's Norman Theater Company that I'm their seamstress. They won't let me go. So since my daughter was into performing. So yeah, I think my husband sometimes wants me to just like chill out, but I don't know. But
You're like, no,
I think it's about all of them
you
for
have too
right
many
now.
missions.
Pardon?
You've got a lot. You have a lot that you want to accomplish, and we applaud that. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
You're making a difference.
Yeah, I'm trying to work it out. I have a thing that I started several years ago. It was called That Special Touch, where I want to take that to develop it more where I can help the organizations with my sewing and that item. So I'm kind of starting to work on that probably at the beginning of next year to kind of focus on it a little bit more and have my best friend Lisa, who does all my um, taxes and stuff like that. She's going to help me see about getting it set up as a 501c3. But I got to have some calm down time before I can actually go and do all that.
That's fantastic. Lindy, she's busy.
She's very busy. I'm like sitting here and thinking, wow.
If you would see my house right now, it shows it.
But having a cheerful heart and one that's willing to give back, like yours, speaks volume of your character and volumes of setting example for others in the pageant community and elsewhere too. I mean, just by donating and doing what you're doing is making a huge difference in the lives of all of those people in your community. So, definitely want to applaud you for that, and definitely want to, encourage everyone else to try to just make sure that if you, you have a cheerful heart and that you're able to give back in the best way that you can.
Thank you. I actually, last year when I was competing for the national title in Nashville, Tammy Johns surprised me. Not a requirement, but she asked the contestants to participate in the Presidential Service Volunteer Award. I apologize, sometimes get the words mixed up on that, but it's where you can submit your volunteer hours, and they have hours for children and then they have hours for adults, and you get bronze, silver, gold, and then there's a lifetime achievement award. Well, last year at Nationals, Tammy John surprised me, and she wrote a letter to the organization and presented me with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah. So I actually have, I got a little coin. It's in my crown box that I brought with me. It's a real nice coin. And I have a certificate that was signed by the president. And you have to have over 5,000 hours, volunteer hours. So she surprised me with that. So
Well, congratulations. What an honor and what that is a testament to everything that you do to make a difference in the lives of others. I love that. Congratulations to you. That is amazing.
Thank you. And I definitely have to with my husband who's sitting across from me. He tags along with a lot of it too. So like right now he's sitting here with his Wreaths Across America badge. So when we're done here, we'll be going back down to the booth to finish the rest of the event down there with them. So he's he's always tagging along with me, but he's a retired firefighter too. So he's used to it.
It sounds like your entire you're just so service oriented and wanting to give back. And that means so much to so many. I think, oftentimes we get so tied up with just the busyness of life. And, some people feel like, oh, I don't have time. You're a great example of that because, no, one person can't do everything, but, you can do maybe one thing or two things. And those little things really do start to add up and make a difference. So we'll
Yeah,
make sure that we put all of your links out in our blog for
thank
your
you.
platforms so that
Yeah.
they get the attention they deserve.
They're good organizations and they got good people running it too. And that's what I like. Because I always joked, I said, if I would have won the pageant the first year I was in there, I was like, nah, I don't want to be involved with that organization because there was no way that I was prepared. And that's what I think a lot of times people when they come to pageants and they don't win, they forget that it's also a learning process of it. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
but,
I read in your bio an interesting tidbit. You were the first girl to play soccer for the Norwin Soccer Club. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What another amazing accomplishment.
oh, that was a long, long, long time ago. I did pretty much whatever my brothers did because I'm the youngest. I have two older brothers. But I was also supposed to be prim and proper and go to church, and the whole 9 yards. But I saw something advertised. I mentioned it to my mom. She signed me up. And that was one thing. My parents never denied us if we wanted to do something when we were growing up. So I was always playing sports. But I ended up signing up. I was the first girl and then I asked my best friend Lisa, I'm like, Lisa, you want to come join soccer with me? Sure, okay. And then we had a girl from Penfield join. So there was three of us that played. And then several years later, then we actually got a girls high school team. So my senior year in high school, which was 1984, we got a girls club team. We were an exhibition team for the high school that year. So, but I still played club soccer afterwards. And then I was on the after I was into it for a few years, I was asked to be on the Western Pennsylvania select soccer team. And I got to travel with them across Pennsylvania and go places. And Pennsylvania has something called the Keystone State Games. So I got to go to the first 3 years of the Keystone State Games with the select team. It was a challenge because I was learning a higher skill game of soccer because of the coaches. And when you come back to soccer, it was kind of tricky because then you have the personalities and it's like, wait, let's try this. So you kind of, but yeah, I love soccer. Soccer was my game. I played it for 14 years and went all the way through college with it, along with everything else. So, yeah, I still have my shirts and I still have my shorts. May not fit into them, but I have them. They're packed away. So, yeah.
Have you ever thought of actually sewing them into a blanket? I've seen a lot of people actually do that too. They take, things like their high school track shirts or whatever, and they make these gorgeous blankets that they can actually use.
I've actually made some of those blankets for a girl, and it was like a very thick one with the fabric that she picked out and everything. It was like a weighted blanket by the time we were done with it. But I was holding off on to because I ended up, since I had my daughter, and you know how during school they'd have like, hey, wear your favorite college shirt or something like that. But sometimes she would wear my volleyball shirt or the volleyball sweatshirt from high school because Norwin High School, if you ever look it up, they have an undefeated record for their volleyball under the coach of Sharon Watson. We won 13 straight state titles. They only lost 3 games in all 13 years while I was in high school. Well, yeah, up until I graduated high school. So that's an undefeated record anywhere across the country. So like I would try and save some of those tidbits. I don't know. My daughter wants me to, but then she changes her mind, and I'm like, make up my mind if I'm making this blanket or not because we have all your shirts from cheer, dance. What else was she in? Show, choir, theater. So I'm like, just let me know what I'm doing with them. Oh yeah, pump pass and kick. She won the
Awesome.
pump pass and kick. So we got to go to Steeler games for that. So that was kind of cool. So because she won on that. But yeah, we've had a pretty crazy life over the years.
Barbara, you wear a lot of hats, mom, wife. You've done pageants, so you've been on the competitive end of that, but you've also judged, and you've judged a couple locally there in your area, I guess, that I'm not familiar with, but they really piqued my interest. The Back the Blue and Pretty in Pink. Could you tell us a little bit about those two in case there's people in your area that would be interested?
Those ones were actually down in Charleston, West Virginia, down that way. I was asked to judge them with my national title. The one little girl that competed in our nationals this year was actually one of the contestants, and I got to meet some of them and the mom. The ones for the Back the Blue, her husband is a police officer. So she's been doing that to raise funds for the police department down there. And there's a lot of contestants. It's West Virginia's good on they're a little different on their pageants. They have a lot of their fairs and festivals down there. And then the Pretty in Pink was done by a lady who is a breast cancer survivor. So I went down and like it was actually back to back. I think we did the Pretty in Pink first, and then we went down the following weekend and did the Back the Blue pageant where I judged it. So it was nice. And once again, my husband did the 4-hour drive down from Pittsburgh down to Charleston. So, but it was nice. We ended up running some people that we know down there too. So it was kind of fun. Yeah. And they're good. They're
It turned
good
into like a
charities.
little vacation.
Yeah. We like our little mini trips, stay over, maybe not, maybe just head back up. But yeah, and then other ones was a fundraiser for a girl that she does to raise funds for herself to compete in. And so I judged hers also up around Butler, PA.
That's great. I love that. I love to judge. I think it's so much fun, and kind of like competing. You still get to go and meet all of the contestants, and it's just when you feel like you've made a difference in a little one or a younger ones, or even women our age in their lives, and you've given them some good information to take along. I think it means a lot. So I know that I really enjoy doing that. I think, Lindy, have you judged before as
I
well?
have. It's been quite some time ago, but yes, and it was neat because there are the contestants that you see there that you're like, that they're going to go someplace and they're going to do great things. And so it's neat to be able to see their journey from that point of view, from the judge's point of view and perspective.
Yeah, and then if you see them at other different pageants, and even over the years, even if you're not judging and you're attending them, you get to see how they grow, and that's what's interesting. And I don't know if you experienced it, but if you ever see yourself in that contestant and go, oh, now I got it, or like, I might need to
Mhm.
tweak this a little bit. That's what I always look at too.
Okay. Well, I know one other thing I wanted to bring up and ask you about was you mentioned the United States All-Star Organization. Is that
Mhm.
affiliated with the pageant that you won as well? I think you had said, is that their charity that they support?
Yes, what it is, the United USASO is a 501(c)(3) charity through the All-Star United States organization. Tammy Johns created it several years ago to help raise funds for children that are in foster care. And when we raise that money, and like when we have our gala night at nationals, we have auction baskets there. That money goes towards that foundation, and it helps supply them with backpacks and food. Kind of a little bit of combination of the Beverly's birthdays, the Tom's turkeys, all that. It's a little bit of a combination of that. And interestingly, several years into her doing that, she got a phone call one day and she was asked, would you please mind coming to take care of a little girl? She was only a few months old, And then not long after that, she was asked, would you be willing to take her brothers? Well, now Tammy and her husband, Paul, have given these three children the best life they could ever have. It was a tricky situation, a lot of details, a lot of rough time adjusting the children from what the situation of what they were living in to now. And they're actually their niece and nephews is who they have. So now, and it's interesting because they were the type who could get up and, hey, we need to do this. We're going to do this. And hey, now we can do this. Well, now it's like, oh, wait a minute. We have these little ones that are now part of the family. And it's so much fun to see them and hear the little stories. And oh, I just call them the little trios because they're very bound together and they protect each one of each other. And a little girl, you just want to rub her cheeks all day long. And they just went around and they're fun. But that is interesting to see how something she started to help in her community with our organization to help others because she's big into charity work. And that's why she has us participate in the volunteer award for the presidential award. That just has rolled into now she's actually living that situation. And it's real inspiring. So I try to help out with whatever I can. And that's the other charity too that we're involved with.
Wow. Talk about coming full circle, right? We will make sure that that is also linked back through our blog on our website to make sure that people can hopefully get in and support that organization for them as well. Wow. That's amazing. It is so needed. And I think a lot of times today we don't think about the things that don't affect us directly, but there's so many things out there where they need our attention and people need our help. And again, if we all come together, we can make a big impact.
Right. And I know we all have our own times too, where it's just kind of like, I just want to stay home. I just want to have me time. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to have your downtime where you just kind of zone everybody out. But at the same time, you see it. And like when I grew up, my parents were the type of people like, let's go. We didn't have a choice in the matter. I mean, we loaded up a U-Haul at St. Agnes Church, and my parents' garage was full of shoes, which I have found fun because it was a mountain. I climbed the shoes. I had a pair, and that was my job. And we boxed them up and drove down to Kentucky to a mission and was down there at a missionary. And I learned how to turn butter at that time. And so I've technically been doing this since I was little. And we didn't have a choice. I mean, my dad was a guy I watched. He wasn't a tall guy, but I watched him carry a full-size refrigerator up a set of steps. And I was like, oh, okay. So my dad was just always get outside. We got work to do. So that's how I was raised. So
I think they're going to, based on you and your husband and what you do to give back. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
I definitely agree with that. And you have that heart, and that's I think where it all stems from. And to know that you started when you were young and then it continued through, and that so basically you've lived a life of service pretty much your whole life, and that's something you find a lot. And I definitely want to commend you on what you have done and all the impact that you have made because it's significant.
Thank you.
We're not going to keep you. We know that you've got your event to get back to, and and guys, go out and support Wreaths Across America. The holidays are not that far off, and they need your help. And they're any state you're in, so please go help them. We'll make sure that her links are in our blog, on our website. You can go and support them there. And Barbara, before we close up, are there any lingering thoughts, anything you want to pass along to the listeners?
Just try to remember that there's a lot of people out there dealing with a lot of things. Even if they have a smile on their face, they may not. Like a lot of people say that they may have a smile on their face, but inside they're really dealing with a lot of stuff. And that's where when I talk about the pageant organization that I was involved with, and they've truly been there for me because we've had a lot go on. And to just get a phone call from somebody or a little text, you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, hey, how's he doing? Just checking in with you, or even when my daughter was sick. We've had a lot of hospital stays over the last almost 9 years, 8 years between various people. Um, but and also when you're competing, just remember, why are you competing? I mean, I joked that I was Gracie Lou Freebush, and yes, the first year was I just wanted to make it through and experience it with my daughter and see what it was like and not be that person behind the stage. Then the second year, when I became fourth runner up and I felt that I actually won the pageant, I was like, yes, let's go celebrate. And then the next year, it was kind of like I didn't, I worked really hard, but I didn't place. And then I think I skipped a year because my daughter was supposed to get married, but then I came back even stronger. You got to take away what you're doing and why do you want to compete in that pageant? Is it just to win, or not necessarily? And this bothers me. It's like right away at the end of the pageant, I'm never coming back to this again. And it's like, well, why? It's like, why you like? I get that you're upset and you put a lot of work into it and a lot of effort, but there's also other people there competing. So, you can have the same judges today and go in and they may go, hey, I didn't notice that last time. I think she'll be good. But to me, it's a learning experience. Yeah, was I sad when I was first runner up? But there was a reason why I didn't win. I I don't know, but I ended up unfortunately in the emergency room as soon as I got home. So there was a reason. So I had health battles after that. So it's like, to me, there was a reason why I wasn't supposed to have that title that year, and it benefited. So it gets me a little, I don't know what the exact word is when I hear people. It's like, I know you're sad, but just take a breather, I think, a little bit on before you go. And, or if you're going to, just wait till you're away from the public, because, after you calm down, you might change your mind. So,
Right.
and just remember, and ultimately, I really, really want to thank everybody who's been involved with me my entire life. Obviously my husband, my daughter, or grandparents now. Yes, to an 18-month-old boy that's running on, climbing all over everything. So pay back to my daughter and my son-in-law. But like my sister-in-law, Beth, and Chris, and our friends, Kara, Tammy, the Golden Girls, and everything, Lisa, who would do my nails. I'm not a nail person, but thank you for that. Gretchen Pingley, who's done my photography. Dennis Puchgard, who's done my photography. There's boutiques that were held with Judy Miller who moved. She was always supplying me my dresses, and Jonathan Michaels and Sea and Salt, which is actually right down here. I went and visited her just a little bit ago. I have to stay out of her store because I like to buy too much from her store. But there's been a lot of people who have stood behind me and in my crazy ventures when I want to have the vendor show as a fundraiser for a fashion show, for Beverly's birthdays. They've come out of the woodwork to really help me, and I really, really appreciate them. I'm not sure if I forgot anybody. Did I forget anybody, dear? But yeah, but thank you so much for having me on here. I was honored whenever you reached out to me. I was just like, okay, what am I doing?
We love putting your stories out there. We all are unique and we all have different causes that we advocate for or that we feel are important. So Lindy and I believe everyone should have the opportunity to share their story, and who better? I mean, you've been wonderful, and we appreciate all that you're doing. I know that we're not local to you, but the difference that you're making in your community, that means a lot to us, and I know that it means a lot to your community and to those people that support you. So yes, we thank you guys for supporting her too. Your support systems are huge. I am the same. Lindy says could not do it without the support of our families and our friends, and we're forever grateful. So we want to thank you for especially in the middle of a busy event, for taking the time to join us here on Crowning Connections today, Barbara.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for doing what you're doing too. I was trying to watch some of your videos and I caught the young girl the other day when she was talking about her mom. So I started watching that and I just need to finish it because I had to leave. I couldn't finish watching it, but she looked like a real sweetheart and real strong too.
amazingly
Yeah.
strong, especially for her age. And she's just another one, she's just overcoming adversity and she's determined to go out and make a change and take the
Absolutely.
negative and make it positive. So we're doing those connections. That's where the name of this podcast came from. We're connecting people. So we're really happy to hear that you enjoyed that episode. And I know that your episode's going to be meaningful to so many people as well.
I
Lindy,
hope,
did you have
yeah,
any thoughts you wanted to close up with?
No, I just want to say thank you for leading with your heart and always putting your heart forward in everything and every step that you do. And you literally got to climb a mountain for other people's and be in other people's shoes. And then you were able to take that. And so it was just, it's just neat to see and neat to hear everything that you've done. So from the bottom of our hearts here at Crown and Connections, thank you so much. And we appreciate
Yes,
you.
Barb.
And,
thank
we'll
you.
continue to watch your journey as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep sharing on my page, even though I'm like a husband. I'm a forever queen now, but yeah, yeah.
We get it. We're lifetimes now too. So the three of us are in the same boat. We'll keep on putting it out there. Well, guys, we thank you all so much for tuning in to Crowning Connections this week and for supporting Barbara's causes that are important to her. We appreciate all the likes, the shares, the love. If you have a story that you want to share, please reach out to us. That's what we're about. So until next time, thank you so much for joining us on Crowning Connections, and we will see you next week.